Oi!
Ladies and gentlemen, KAMARU USMAN, we wait for you.
Finally. Yeah. So the thing here is like, we can at least go outside. It's sunny.
Yeah,
Take a walk, go for a run, train outside.
yeah,
As long as you're not, you're still respecting the social distancing rule.
yeah,
We could still do that. So that's the wonderful thing about it. So it's not, you don't feel so trapped. Just
yeah.
being in the house all the time.
First thing, they want to know how much you walk around when you're not fighting.
During like I'm very lean generally,
Yeah.
and I'm always training, and I don't eat bad normally. So when I'm not fighting, I walk around 191, 190. The highest I've ever been is 197 pounds, and that was after my surgery, right after I won the title.
Okay.
Because I couldn't train for almost 3 months.
Favorite junk food?
Cookies.
Cookies.
I mean, I made cookies for the first time in 4 years 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And I was eating like 3 of them a day. So I would say cookies are on the top of the list right now. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Do you speak Italian? They want to know.
Grazie.
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 Not at all.
Not at all. No.
Okay. You were born in Nigeria. Which age you went to US?
Yeah, I was born in Auchi, Nigeria. I was raised there till I was about 8 years old.
Okay.
Before I come into the US, where I grew up in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas. Okay. Okay. Do you rather live in Texas or Florida?
A little bit of both, because as a child, yes, I would much rather be in Dallas, Texas. But as an adult, a single adult in the prime years of my life, much rather be in Florida.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why? What do you think about the fight with Masvidal from a technical point of view? I'm not talking about the talking trash and shit.
Yeah.
How do you see that playing out?
It's a good fight. I think technically he's a very, very good fighter. Now, do I think he's the best fighter, the most elite fighter ever? No, but technically I think he's very, very good. He does a lot of things very well, and he's kind of hard to deal with. He's fast. He's sharp. What a lot of people underestimate with me when they get into a fight with me is they just look at that. They just look at all the technical, how well he's throwing the punches, how fluid they come, or how good he can kick. They don't see the heart that's behind it. A dogfight is a dogfight. When both guys are tired, who's still going to be able to push and go get that victory when it's as tough as it can be?
I think, tell me if you agree, you can't really feel pressure when you're watching in TV.
No.
While you watch it.
Yeah, no, not at all. Because and I would watch some boxing fights back in the day, and I'd be like, man, why I can do that? Like that's easy. And then you actually get into a sparring match with a boxer, and then it's like, oh, that's why you feel the difference. And vice versa. I'm sure a lot of boxers, they watch MMA fighters, and then they're like, oh, well, I could do that. Why aren't these guys doing this? But then they don't realize that you got to worry about somebody taking you down, somebody kicking your leg, somebody kicking you in the head, somebody elbowing you, all of that. You can't just, it's not just looking at it technically.
Why you, in your Instagram account, you are Usman84 and not 77?
When I first got Twitter, when I was training for the Olympics in wrestling.
Yeah.
And I was 84 kilos.
84 kilos. Okay.
And so I got Instagram. Like, I didn't really use Instagram then, so I got Instagram at that point. So it was Usman 84 kilo.
So they want to know, what do you think of Israel Adesanya as a man, as an athlete?
Yes, I think Israel is one of those special guys that comes along that you look at. There's a lot of special people in different ways. I believe that I'm special in a certain way. Just like I've been studying a lot of great champions, and And I feel like I fall under the kind of the shoes of Evander Holyfield and how he was in his career. Israel is special because he is a guy that, you know, that's gonna dazzle you as well as kick your ass. You know, he's a very incredible fighter, but he's also entertaining outside, and he kind of has that factor that makes him say, "Look at me."
Yeah.
You know, so that's what makes him special. He's not trying to be like anybody else. He's himself, and himself as a whole is a very special individual.
What is the coach that between all the coaches, even in wrestling or jiu-jitsu coach, that really you think influenced you?
It was Rashad Evans.
Mm.
You know, when I was a wrestler, you know, and then once I was doing this, I kind of started to see the sport a little bit more, understand it a little bit more. But it wasn't until Rashad Evans really came about and said, "Hey, I think you can do this, and I think you could be great at this."
Wow. Yeah. Having Rashad Evans that tells you you can do it is a big thing. Do you think that MMA in general, but especially UFC, that maybe should provide fighters that even if they don't fight, they can provide for the family, like, kind of like in a salary, or you think it's a bad idea?
Yes, and no.
Mm.
Yes, because everyone will be able to provide for their family or their,
Yeah.
you know, in that sense, you know. But our sport's different. It makes it very, very difficult, and our sport's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
You can get hurt and you can't, you know, you miss the fight and things like that. So it makes it very impossible to really put guys on salaries like that. I mean, yeah, I would say, especially at the bottom, I think you have a little bit more a leeway as far as pulling out of a fight. If you're hurt or something's wrong,
Yeah.
you know, you can, you know, necessarily pull out if you can't fight. But at the top, when this event has been built around you and there's multi-millions on the line as far as promoting and doing things like that, it makes it a lot harder to be able to pull out of these events, whether you're hurt or not.
Kamaru, if you wouldn't be a fighter, what do you think you would have been in life?
I would be a marriage counselor.
Really?
Yes. It's one thing. There's always three sides to a story. There's
Yes.
this person's side, that person's side, and the real truth. And I think I do well at staying in the middle. For some reason, I'm always the dad in certain situations. I'm always like the voice of reason. I don't know why I'm put in that situation. I don't know why, but it's just I'm naturally.
If you can give an advice, just one, to an up and coming fighter.
It's a quote that I live by, and I've lived by this since I was in college. It's if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Is, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to be a good fighter. I want to be the best fighter. I want to be a great fighter," but there's really no plan on how to do that. They don't think about all that. They just think, "Oh, I'm just gonna walk in the gym and I'm gonna be the best."
Yeah.
But then they don't train as hard as they need to train. They don't dedicate themselves to it as much as they need to dedicate themselves to it. They don't eat the right things. Everybody can have talent, but, you know, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard anything.
And people in Italy ask me, so what about you, Usman? I say, man, he's the last one. Even when the practice is done, he stays on the mat and does shadowboxing by himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a culture, just a cultural thing. When I got into sports, organized sports, I came from Nigeria, so I started wrestling in high school. And in high school, you only get 4 years. And there were kids that had been wrestling since they were 5 years old. I just realized I can't get as good as those guys just doing the same practice those guys were doing. So
Yeah.
I need to do extra. I needed to do more. The first year or two, I kind of I want to do this, but it was too hard. So I'm like, it's hard. I don't know if I'm gonna be good. I don't want to do it. I never really dedicated myself. But then one time something clicked, and I just said, you know what? I want to be the best. I want to be good at this. And I started doing it. I started doing my own stuff before and after practice. Then next thing you know, after a year, you know, those guys that were beating me that bad before,
Yeah.
It was even now. It was getting even. It was getting closer and closer. And then after another year, I started beating everybody. I'm like, oh, that's the formula. That's how you do it.
Okay, last question, champ. What is, in your opinion, the hardest fight in your career?
I would say it was when to win the Ultimate Fighter, when we did the TV show, the finale, which happened to be my first UFC fight. After the show, I had a surgery on my knee. I had a microfracture surgery, which was a very, very, very hard surgery. I got it done in, I think, April, and the finale was in July.
Wow.
And then all the while, I had to train for the fight. And then I think going into that fight, I knew in my head that I wasn't even 20%. I couldn't really stand and throw punches because I couldn't push off the foot. I couldn't stand on the foot really. Wow. And I knew that it was going to be hard, but somehow I had to fake it. I had to find a way to go out there and win this fight. But I knew that I had a big distinct advantage is my wrestling. I could wrestle in my sleep if I need to. I was confident in myself, but I was scared. I was very scared. I was very nervous in the fight because there was a lot on it. There was a lot of money on the line.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, champ. I'll let you go. We know that you're super busy. I don't know how to thank you. Best of luck for everything. Keep in touch.
All right, my man. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, brother.